Islam, Shalom, Hola, Aloha, Assalamu Alaikum, Osio, Bonjour. This is your brother Zach Bey, Indigenous American Moor, coming to you live and in full effect. Thank you for joining me. Please like, share, subscribe to my channel. Go ahead, hit that thumbs up. It helps the algorithm. Leave a comment down below. Interact with my content. I really appreciate it. Today I want to speak more on American chattel slavery and systematic oppression, and the tools or tactics that are used against the Moors in America, the American Indians, the so-called African American or so-called black people here in America, tactics that are used specifically against our nation of people, and pretty much to deplete our ability to repair and recover, to make our nation better, our nation of people better, which will in turn make the whole nation as the United States of America, the Republic, make the nation stronger as a whole. All right, so I want to pretty much go over a list of a few organizations that I believe are intentionally put in place to drain our people's spiritual energies, physical and mental resources, so we can't use that to increase or put force behind our nation of people. All right, the Moors are American, the American Indians. So these organizations are placed in place to divide and subtract our people's collective power if we were to organize and put our talents to a greater purpose. All right, so I want to start off by saying the NFL, the National Football League, that's one. The NBA, the National Basketball Association, the MLB, Major League Baseball. All right, so these organizations here in America, they just so happen to take like the top 5% of our athletes, and these athletes are pretty much in peak physical condition for the most part. You know, they're at the top of their physical performance and their game at the time when they get drafted for these leagues. All right, if you notice, when they say drafted, it's the same type of draft that's used in the military. All right, we have to put that together. The NFL draft, the NBA draft, the MLB draft, all these leagues have drafts as akin to a military draft. All right, choosing the most talented, the strongest, the fastest. All right, so these physical attributes are the attributes of warriors. All right, the land of the free and the home of the brave. All right, when they talking about the braves, they're talking about our people, the so-called red man, the American Indians. Our people are the strong, we're the brave, right? So these leagues are intentionally taking like the top 5% of our most powerful potential warriors or even soldiers. All right, so imagine if all the brothers that are in the NFL, all right, the National Football League, are all of our brothers who are in the NBA, how big those guys are, how strong and how athletic those guys are. If those guys were in our army, all right, a standing army, right? So the NFL, the NBA, and the MLB, they're all systems put in place to deplete our people's ability to create a standing army. We need to put two and two together. All right, these things aren't just for entertainment. Of course, they're extracting resources and money from the so-called entertainment that these athletes are putting on. But just imagine if these guys weren't spending 60% of their lives learning how to throw a ball, catch a ball, run extremely fast, to endure. These guys could be the strongest standing army on the planet. All right, you're talking about super soldiers. All right, the abilities, the natural physical talents and abilities and gifts that our men, that our people have here in America, all right, that our nation has here in America, are all being divided amongst the MLB, the NBA, the NFL. All right, just imagine if our nation of people. All right, so hopefully a lot of you are um, aware of the FOI, or the Fruit of Islam. All right, that's supposed to be the military branch of the Nation of Islam. All right, imagine if us American Indians had the ability to create a standing army, but our standing army was made of the top NFL players, the top NBA players, the top MLB players, all these, um, the top gold medal winners, you know what I'm saying, the top Olympians. If we could create a standing army or any type of militia or military force that incorporated a so-called draft that was of men, potential warriors and soldiers of this caliber, all right, the most physical, uh, the most physical and top peak condition athletes. If these guys were in an army, they would literally be the super soldiers of the world. I want us to put that together, put two and two together. All right. These organizations are intentionally taking our warriors, and I would even say there's other organizations that are taking our scholars. All right, as far as scholastic achievement and advances, scholarship, as far as reading, writing, different fields of study. All right, so if we think about the colleges, and I would say the colleges takes like our top 10% of our scholastically achieved people, and this is men and women. All right, so specifically, there's a rise in female enrollment in colleges. As far as like, I believe it's like 2 to 1 now, 2 to 1 as males to as females to males. Females are enrolling in colleges at a rate of like 2 to 1 to males enrolling in colleges. Right. So if our talented 10% that are all being inducted into these scholastic institutions, these colleges. All right. So mind you, when somebody feels like that they've advanced or that they have a great opportunity, it's usually always to the so-called Ivy League schools. All right. So when we're talking about colleges and we're speaking about Ivy League schools, these schools were founded in racism. They were founded by people who believed in separation of castes and classes here in America, and they were funded by those people and their families for generations. So our people only feel like we've achieved something or advanced far enough if we get inducted or invited into a racist founded college institution. All right, these so-called Ivy League colleges. So the ability for our people to create a strong and powerful nation that can stand on the international stage here in America, we would need a standing army. We would need scholars, and the colleges and the national sports leagues are effectively taking all those resources before we even get a chance to organize. I really believe that this is a way that our nation can repair itself and heal itself if we focus on these issues. We don't see them as issues; we see them as some type of opportunity that that was given to us. But mind you, we had our own sports leagues, we had our own college institutions back in the so-called segregation days. All right, we had that. We had our own, and part of the integration process was actually to weaken us as a whole and cripple us, because we gave up first class service that we were giving ourselves. We were creating products and services and giving our people first class services. But then we gave that up in order to accept third class service from these so-called white institutions and businesses. All right. Um, I also want to speak on how a lot of our sisters are in the medical field. Of course, they're in college. They're bookkeepers for a lot of these major corporations. They're accountants for a lot of these major corporations, and that's all a talent pool that's being taken from our nation of people. If we continue to think of every single other group of people in this country and we divide ourselves by thinking that we're just a part and parcel of it all, but yet there's small groups of so-called small like nationhoods of people. There's so-called Jewish community, the Chinese community, the Latino community. Um, there's many migrants coming over here. There's like so-called African community. Um, all of these other countries of people that are coming over here, and they're forming collective, uh, a collective body, and it's actually embodying like their their home nation, the nation that they came from. They're keeping up with those traditions and those connections, and they're actually moving forward here in America by just using the finance, because America is like the cash grab for anybody. Almost any foreigner or other nation of people can come over here, gain finance, and out just send it out back into their country and not even use it here, not even pay taxes, things that they expect us to pay, different kind of fees and fines and all that. They're getting complete benefits and breaks from all of that, and they're just coming over here gaining finance and resources and sending it back overseas. We can't do that, and it's even a problem for our people a lot of times to gain finance and resources and send it to the so-called hood. All right, and send it to our communities, our neighborhoods. And it's a shame because our people don't own these places. So it sort of makes sense that somebody wouldn't become successful and then give back to a place where they came from, because our people don't own that. So I really like the fact that a lot of these musicians and artists are talking about buying back the block, so-called buying back the residential neighborhoods or the so-called slums or the ghettos that they forced our people into to keep us uh, socially separated. And we're actually starting to buy back these places, because the whole gentrification script is so properties can lose value by being ran down, and buildings are being owned by the same individual or companies, and they're refusing to build up these businesses or these properties and keeping them run down, so it in turn lowers the property value of all the surrounding properties. And if one owner, company, or individual owns a certain number of properties in a certain specific type of area, they can actually petition to the government and get a type of public domain placed over that area, which means the, um, all the other properties within this locality can actually be just sold to that one owner for like a low ball price. So it's actually systematically done. And I really wanted to bring this to our people's attention because this stuff is happening under our nose. You really have to use your God-given discernment, your third eye, to really see through this illusion, this veil that's been placed in front of us to deceive us and to drain our energies and resources. Colleges, the NFL, the MLB, the NBA, all these organizations are taking our people's power. They're dividing our people's resources. They're dividing our resources, our God-given talents and abilities. We do not have the ability to make a standing army. We do not have the ability to make temples and houses of higher learning, because we're sending all of our people to their institutions to advance their agendas. All right. So this is your brother Zach Bey. I really wanted to touch on this topic. I would love to hear more about this topic down in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe. Peace. Wado.